What if an elderly woman, silently suffering in the corner of a bustling cafe, was ignored by all, until a teenager's simple act of pulling a chair turned her loneliness into a global headline that melted hearts worldwide? This isn't just a tale of neglect. It's a profound story of compassion, resilience, and the unexpected power of a young soul's kindness. In a world where the elderly often fade into the background, what happens when one boy's gesture ignites a movement that captures the world's attention? Get ready to be moved to tears and inspired to act, because this true story unfolding on Friday, May 30th, 2025, at 7:30 p.m. plus 7 at the Cozy Bean Café in Maplewood will leave you believing in humanity's goodness. Let's dive into this heartwarming moment and discover how it all began. The clock struck 7:30 p.m. plus 7 on Friday, May 30th, 2025, as the Cozy Bean Café in Maplewood hummed with its usual evening energy. The scent of roasted coffee beans and freshly baked scones filled the air, mingling with the soft jazz playing overhead. Patrons, students cramming for exams, couples sharing whispers, and families winding down filled the wooden tables, their laughter and chatter creating a lively backdrop. Amid this bustle sat 78-year-old Margaret Ellis, a frail figure with silver hair neatly pinned in a bun, her hands trembling as they clutched a worn leather purse. A widow for 15 years since her husband Thomas lost his battle with cancer, Margaret had made this cafe her sanctuary. Every Friday she donned her best, a faded floral dress, and ordered chamomile tea and a slice of lemon cake, a ritual that connected her to memories of happier times. Tonight, however, Margaret went unnoticed. The young barista, 19-year-old Jake Miller, was swamped, his hands a blur as he poured lattes and rang up orders for a group of boisterous college students demanding extra syrup. A family with 2 rambunctious kids at the next table called for refills and napkins, their voices drowning out her presence. Margaret raised a shaky hand, her voice a faint whisper, "Excuse me," but the noise swallowed it. Minutes passed, 7:33 p.m. 7:35 p.m. and still no one came. A tear traced down her cheek as she lowered her hand, the familiar sting of invisibility settling in. She thought of Thomas, how he'd always ensured she felt seen, and the ache of his absence deepened. As a retired school teacher who'd spent 35 years nurturing Maplewood's children, Margaret was used to being valued, but retirement had brought isolation. Her only child lived overseas, and neighbors rarely visited. Just as Margaret resolved to leave, 16-year-old Liam Carter stepped into the cafe, his skateboard tucked under his arm and a backpack slung over one shoulder. A sophomore at Maplewood High, Liam was known for his quiet demeanor and love of skateboarding, often spending evenings at the local park. He'd stop by for his sodas after practice, his mind drifting to a history project due next week. As he waited in line, he spotted Margaret, her frail form slumped slightly, her eyes fixed on the empty table. Her expression, a blend of sadness and patience, reminded him of his grandmother Eleanor, who'd passed away 2 years ago from a stroke. Eleanor had cherished their Friday teas, and Liam's memories of her gentle smile flooded back. Moved by an instinct he couldn't explain, he grabbed his soda, paid, and approached her table. "Hi, ma'am," he said softly, his voice cutting through the cafe's din. "Mind if I sit with you?" Margaret looked up, startled, her lips parting in surprise. Before she could respond, Liam pulled out a chair, its legs scraping lightly against the floor, and sat down with a warm smile. "I'm Liam. Looks like you could use some company." The gesture was simple, but the effect was immediate. Margaret's eyes welled up, a smile breaking through her tears as she nodded. "Thank you, dear," she whispered, her voice cracking with emotion. Liam, sensing her need, asked, "Can I get you something?" She hesitated, then replied, "A cup of chamomile tea, if it's not too much trouble." He nodded, returned to the counter, and ordered with his own pocket money, even requesting a slice of lemon cake. When Jake offered it complimentary, inspired by Liam's kindness, back at the table, Liam listened as Margaret opened up. Her voice, once frail, grew stronger as she shared stories of her teaching days, her favorite student, little Tommy, who'd written her a poem, and the love letters she and Thomas exchanged during his army service. "He'd write about the stars," she said, her eyes distant, said they reminded him of my eyes. Liam, captivated, shared his own tale, his grandmother's teas, his struggles with history, and his dream to design skate parks. The conversation flowed, a bridge between generations, and Margaret's smile widened with each word. At 7:40 p.m. +7, a customer, 34-year-old photographer Mia Lopez, snapped a photo from across the room, capturing Liam's attentive gaze and Margaret's radiant expression, unaware of its future impact. The cafe began to notice. A student whispered to his friend, and soon, a small crowd of patrons watched the exchange. Liam, oblivious, ordered another tea when Margaret finished hers, his resolve firm, despite his dwindling cash. "You remind me of my grandma," he admitted, and Margaret patted his hand. "And you remind me of the kindness I used to see in my students," she replied. The moment was tender, a stark contrast to the earlier neglect, and it planted a seed that would grow beyond imagination. Maya posted the photo on Instagram at 7:45 p.m. +7, captioning it, "Kindness in Action," at the Cozy Bean Café. Within an hour, it had 1,000 likes, shared by locals who recognized Margaret. By midnight, the photo hit 10,000 likes, trending with #ChairOfKindness. Maplewood awoke to national attention when Channel 5 News aired a segment at 6 a.m. +7 on May 31st, featuring the photo and interviews with cafe staff. Margaret and Liam, still unaware, became symbols of intergenerational care. Comments flooded in. "This restores my faith in humanity." And the story spread to Twitter, reaching 50,000 retweets by noon. Media outlets called, and by 2 p.m. +7, a reporter interviewed Liam at school, where he blushed but stood tall. Margaret, overwhelmed, spoke from home, her voice shaky but proud. The photo's virality inspired a GoFundMe, Support Margaret's Joy, launched by Mia, raising $2,000 by evening. On May 31st, a fundraiser at the cafe raised $5,000, with locals donating baked goods and performances. Margaret spoke, thanking Liam, while he received a kindness award from the mayor. The Chair of Kindness initiative began, encouraging teens to assist elders, with 20 participants by week's end. By June 30th, it reached 50 towns, with Margaret mentoring youth and Liam blogging about compassion. Their friendship deepened, and the cafe became a community center. The legacy was cemented with a plaque on August 10th, 2025, commemorating their story. Reflecting on August 15th, 2025, Liam and Margaret. Cite Hebrews 13:16. Do not forget to do good and to share with others. They urge viewers to perform kind acts, offering a seat, a conversation, sharing examples like helping a neighbor. The story ends with hope for a kinder future, a testament to the power of a single chair pulled out in love. Thanks for watching. If this story moved you, like, comment, and subscribe. For more powerful real-life stories, turn on the notification bell so you never miss what's coming next. See you in the next video.